Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for December 19th. December 19th is the 353rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 354th in leap years, with 12 days remaining until the end of the year. And I'm laughing right now because I dictate this, and for whatever reason, as careful as I try to be with my diction, um, Siri translates leap years to lake beers. 354th and lake beers. No, it's in leap years. 354th day of the year in leap years. I usually catch those, but I didn't catch this one. So, anyway, I would like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes. Ask you to go ahead and click that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and remember that you can share this video with others with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. I do keep a link to my This Day in History playlist in the show notes. I'll also put one up in the iCards. And all that administrative blah, blah, blah out of the way, we'll get on started with This Day in History. Henry II of England was crowned at Westminster Abbey on December 19th in the year 1154. This made me curious about Westminster Abbey. 1154 was a very long time ago. So I looked it up. It's hard to feature it's been standing that long, but in fact, it started out as a community of Benedictine monks in about 960. Somewhere between 1042 and 1052, King Edward the Confessor began building the abbey so that he would have a suitable place to be buried. They got that finished in 1060, consecrated in 1065, about a week before King Edward passed away. So sure enough, he acted in time. He got to be buried there. It was rebuilt in the Gothic style in the 13th century, and since the coronation of William the Conqueror in 1066, all coronations of English and British monarchs have taken place in Westminster Abbey, and 16 royal weddings have taken place there as well since 1100. On December 19th, 1732, Benjamin Franklin began publishing Poor Richard's Almanack. Poor Richard's Almanack was an interesting collection of subjects, from information about the movements of the moon and stars, to weather reports, to historical tidbits, poems, and those adages for which Franklin became famous, like fish and visitors stink in 3 days. And 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. Poor Richard's Almanack became increasingly more popular every year for the quarter century that it was published. On December 19th, 1776, Thomas Paine published one of a series of pamphlets in the Pennsylvania Journal, and his series was entitled The American Crisis. Perhaps best known as the author of a pamphlet called Common Sense, Thomas Paine has been described by one historian as a corset maker by trade, a journalist by profession, and a propagandist by inclination. Indeed, after he got done helping the American Revolution get off the ground, he went over to France to become involved in the French Revolution. If you've ever heard the quote, "These are the times that try men's souls," that is from the first line of the first page of the first edition of The American Crisis. On December 19th, 1843, Charles Dickens published A Christmas Carol, the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, whom Dickens described as a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire. In A Christmas Carol, Scrooge learns the Christmas spirit of generosity from three ghosts who show him his past, his present, and his future. This is the birthday of Ford Frick, born December 19th, 1894. He was an American sports writer and baseball executive and the third commissioner of the Major League Baseball from 1951 to 1965. He had something to do with the establishment of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York, and he himself was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee in 1970. The Hall of Fame's Ford C. Frick Award recognizes outstanding MLB broadcasters. Ford Frick lived to the age of 83. This is the birthday of Martin Luther King Sr., born December 19th, 1899. He was a pastor, missionary, and of course, father of Martin Luther King Jr. Sr. lived to the age of 84. The last Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost was sold in London, England on December 19th, 1924. The Silver Ghost was a luxury automobile, and that gave Rolls-Royce the bragging rights at the time of making the best car in the world. Development of the Silver Ghost was suspended during World War I, although the chassis and engine were supplied for use in Rolls-Royce armored cars. Unfortunately, sales began to decline sharply in the early 1920s, so Rolls-Royce retired the Silver Ghost and launched the Silver Ghost's replacement, which was introduced as the New Phantom in 1925. All in all, a total of 7,874 Silver Ghost cars were made during its production. Many of them still run today. This is the birthday of baseball great Al Kaline, born December 19th, 1934. He played 22 seasons, all with the Detroit Tigers, earning him the nickname of Mr. Tiger. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame on the first ballot in 1980 and lived to the age of 85. That last manned lunar flight, Apollo 17, returned to Earth on December 19th, 1972. A spacecraft called Gaia was launched by the European Space Agency on December 19th, 2013. And that's all I have for you today. Hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. I always do. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes, along with the link to my This Day in History playlist. And of course, again, I'll put that This Day in History playlist up there, along with a link to last year's episode of This Day in History for December 19th. Just checking to see if there's anything else. Alrighty then, we're all set. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.